"260 highly qualified Jewish professionals from all over Europe gathered in the German capital to meet with their Israeli startup nation counterparts to network and inspire one another. The Liddell Fly Berlin Conference was held under the auspices of the European Jewish Fund. IBA reporter Denison was there and filed this report.
The Startup Nation meets Europe. That was the theme of the two-day Liddell Fly Berlin Conference, which brought a group of outstanding Israeli young professionals and their Jewish European counterparts to mingle in the German capital. 260 participants attended the event, including several who've already made a name for themselves internationally. One was Jeff Pulver, a pioneering internet entrepreneur who is considered the person responsible for the development of audio and video streaming, including internet telephone calls.
We have to challenge the status quo of how people approach problem solving, and I believe at the end of the day it's all about people, and we just have to look at things differently, but once we can do that, people become unstoppable. So it's believe in you.
Mega entrepreneur Mick Davis, who arrived from London, is former CEO of Xstrata, one of the largest mining companies in the world. Davis says that the runaway success of Israeli high-tech and creativity is well known in his circles.
The sacrifice of the average Israeli young person to society is enormous, and yet that society has gone forward and far exceeded the potential that anybody ordinarily would have applied to it. And I think it's because of the inherent capacity and capability of the people there.
The Liddell Conference made it clear that Startup Nation does not only mean innovations in technology.
We have a lot of social innovations, educational innovations. I myself, I was one of the founders of the Beit Midrash for Zionist Thought.
Another unique participant was Israeli musician Ivri Leader of TYP, the Young Professionals band. Leader said that he is thrilled to know that the business world has come to realize that artists are innovators too.
It's the same thing, you know, it's being creative. It's so we write a song, they create a way for people to socialize or whatever.
But at the end of the day, it was as much the Jewish and Israeli aspect of the high-tech conference that motivated the organizers.
I just want to get to people that are not affiliated in this world. I want to get to people that if they hear Jewish, so maybe they wouldn't come. But if they hear innovation and they see these startupists and wonderful speakers, so they want to come. And by that, they discover their connection to Judaism, to the Jewish world, to Israel.
An increasing number of anti-Semitic and anti-Israel websites are appearing on the internet, causing concern for Jewish communities across the world. The subject took center stage at an international conference in Hungary on hate speech, sponsored by the European Jewish Fund. IBA's special correspondent Leah Zinder was there and filed this report.
The experts who gathered in Budapest were united on one issue. There's a battle raging against Jews and the State of Israel. The battleground is the internet, websites and social media. And it's being waged by what the conference called enemies of freedom.
Social media has turned out to be a very powerful weapon in the campaign against Jews and against Israel. By being the voice of many people, millions of people throughout the world, and allowing their own words to come through unedited, unfiltered.
It was Henry Ford who first expressed concern over what he called the international Jew.
We need the law because what we have to do is to make sure that when someone actually oversteps a particular red line, he will face the music. And the music here is the music of the law, and he should end up in jail.
You really can't stop it by the law, because the people who actually support this kind of parties or speeches, they will feel that the state is indeed against them and against what they think, and it will only reinforce them.
What is evident is that the internet is here to stay, and from now on, political battles will be increasingly won and lost in the social media. Based on its research, the Political Capital Institute, which hosted the conference, had a few tips on how to deal with the dark side of the web.
I think even the overall human rights rhetoric should be renewed somehow, and new arguments should be found that can be catchy for the youngsters as well, because right now what we can see is that sometimes intolerant ideologies are much more catchy for the youngsters than the tolerant ones, and it was not always the case.
Leading experts on nuclear disarmament met in Switzerland today under the auspices of the International Luxembourg Forum on Preventing Nuclear Catastrophe.
If we have the international common recognition what is the red line and when this red line is crossed, and it becomes like a law or like unbreakable rule, in this case it will be very easy for United Nations to support the measurements which are described in the Article 42.
Members of the largest non-governmental organization advocating nuclear non-proliferation held their biannual meeting in Warsaw, where they discussed ways to facilitate the process of arms limitation and reduction. A Limud Jewish Learning Seminar was held in Lithuania, where some 3,000 Jews live in the shadow of the once thriving and prosperous pre-Holocaust Jewish community. Lithuanian Jewish leaders say that such events are vital today to keep the tiny community cohesive and alive.
It's Friday afternoon, and registration is underway for a Limud Jewish Study Weekend at a spa hotel in the Lithuanian resort of Druskininkai, once a favorite vacation spot for the Jews of Lithuania. Close to 300 people have gathered here for the Mini Limud Weekend, sponsored by the European Jewish Fund. The participants are all members of Lithuania's tiny Jewish community that's struggling to maintain its existence.
The main aim of the event is to try to attract, through a different way, the people who are not so much affiliated with the community, or maybe they would like to affiliate, but there are not so many events for them.
The accent at this Limud event is on young families and those who are attending for the first time. For that reason, children are kept busy with activities designed especially for them, while their parents can choose from sessions ranging from the light to the serious, from beauty workshops to lectures and discussions on Jewish history and the Talmud.
Our people are mostly post-Sovietic people, people that grow up without religion. And for them, last 20 years is like a starting school for Jewishness.
95% of Lithuania's 250,000 Jews were murdered in the Shoah, the highest percentage of any European country. 100,000 Jews and 600 years of Jewish scholarship drowned in a sea of blood. There are officially 5,000 Jews in Lithuania today. The unofficial count is under 3,000. And here at Limud, we meet Anna. Like her mother before her, and like many others in the community, Anna is married to a non-Jew.
Very, very lately, I feel somewhere inside of me some kind of arousing need for becoming a part of it again and bringing my children closer to the Jewish community.
Community leader Faina Kukliansky says she believes current conditions for Jewish revival are good.
I'm afraid to say, even I don't know how long it will continue, but the situation that we have today, we have just a good environment for the Jews to continue staying here in Lithuania, to developing the community.